GeekBeat.tv keeping the chat room jumping. Digital Phil's got it going on. What's up, Digital Phil? Thanks for watching, brother. I hope everybody is enjoying our live Comic-Con 2014 coverage. BeTerrific, the Padcaster. We're syndicating on GeekBeat.tv. What's up, geeks? We're on Planet5D.com. Thanks so much, planters. We've got some cool stuff right here. Sons of Anarchy toys. We've got all sorts of other stuff. That's Mezco Toys. And they're going to be raffling this stuff off with us later this afternoon as part of our huge finale raffle. We'll have some stuff for you guys at home as well. You'll be able to play along on Twitter, and we'll be doing WowWee's Electro Kids and a whole lot more, including Padcasters. So keep it locked to that. Thank you for continuing to watch. You are continuing BeTerrific live Comic-Con coverage here at Comic-Con 2014. I've got Faro on set. He's got the book, Faro. It's a comic book. It's awesome. You guys did the Kickstarter to get going. Sure,
yes, sir. You know what it is? I learned with Kickstarter, it's kind of like being in a mall and having a really gorgeous store. But the problem is you're walking up to everybody else going, hey, come into my store. And they're all saying, no, you come into my store. So you got a gigantic mall with a whole bunch of really cool stores and not enough customers. But the idea is I realized that when playing the math, was every 10 people I bothered, somebody came in and stayed. And I always said if I just kept playing the numbers and doing and showing kids that math actually works, that it would work out. Because it goes beyond the quality video. It goes beyond putting together good art and good descriptions. You got to really just get in people's face and go, look, I'm not asking for charity. I'm asking you to take a look at my work and tell me it stinks, but take a look.
Well, I love what you're doing with kids. It's so hard to get noticed on Kickstarter, I think. There's so many Kickstarters now. So what's the secret?
I think the secret is you know what it is, they always say the best salesman doesn't sell the product, he sells himself.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing I started doing the comedy because I realized the more people I made laugh, the more sales I got.
Yeah.
I literally just started getting on stage because I missed radio, I missed performing, and everybody I'd go up to, I go, look, if you think I'm funny, take a look. I would stand there after every show and go, look, I'm selling it online. I'd literally throw the cards out.
All right, I want to hear a little bit of your act. Before we get to that, you're with Creatures Entertainment. Yes. They've brought you on. They liked your work
they were
enough.
really desperate.
and they brought you on. They really liked your work. And talk about Faro.
Faro is a story.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. Faro is a story of a guy who goes back in time to prevent the Lincoln assassination. Because he's fascinated, and he says, I'm going to prove that time is like when Magellan went around the world, time is a circle.
Yeah.
After the end, there can only be the beginning. You know, after death, there is rebirth. Of course, nobody believes him. He destroys his career, destroys his reputation, so he takes money from criminal organizations and says, I'm doing this, I'm going back in time. He lands there 5 minutes, literally as Booth is walking up the stairs of Ford's Theater and thinks, here I am, I'm going to be a hero now. He gets beaten up by the cops, right? Gets thrown in an asylum, nobody of course believes him, and while he's laying there dying, the void opens back up, and a gorgeous statuesque blonde walks through and says, your country has betrayed you not once, but twice. You're going to come with me now, and I'm going to turn you into what you're supposed to be. So they go back in time to Sodom and Gomorrah, they become the Antichrist, the witch and the warlord, take over the entire world.
How do you come up with this story?
Well, I like to believe that a lot of it came from autobiographical elements, you know?
Oh, so you went back in time and you were there.
I had a really wild experience.
How come you couldn't get to Booth?
Well, you know what it was? Booth was the Brad Pitt of his day. So you think if you just get there, you know, give him a quick chokehold and it's all good, but Booth was protected. And the idea was that you're walking up the stairs, you're gonna go grab him, go, listen, this guy's gonna kill the president. No, what are you talking about? This is the most famous guy in the world. Get out of here. This guy's a nutcase. You know, Booth was the Brad Pitt. He was the man. Anything he did, the only reason he got to Lincoln was because no one believed in a million years he'd kill him. Okay. And that always fascinated me. This pimp, this playboy, why screw up your life for a shot at immortality?
I don't know. I guess people are nuts.
Or he wanted to be what he considered like the world's first superhero. He, in his mindset for the Confederacy, killing Lincoln was the ultimate get for him. But he waited too long, and by then Lincoln was an immortal himself.
Right.
And I always wondered if Lincoln lived, what would be good and what would be bad. So in essence, I created like Lincoln is almost like
what made you so fascinated about Lincoln?
Well, I teach history, and I work in special education. And the one thing I realized is kids don't care about history anymore because they have no say in it. Right. You can sit there with a great lecture that they can get on Wikipedia in 5 seconds. So I would mess around with like trying to create ideas to make history interesting. We did this comic strip program we were doing where, what if the founding fathers had iPhones?
Yeah.
So the idea is you have Thomas Jefferson trying to write the Declaration of Independence, he gets bored, and he decides to just take a quick shot of his, of his undercarriage, send it off to King George.
So now we've got Thomas Jefferson being Anthony Weiner.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm sure that those shenanigans happened all the way back then.
Well, you got to believe. You got to believe at some point these guys had a party.
You're a comedian.
Yes, sir.
You know what? I'm going to give you the opportunity to give everybody a little, can you do 2-3 minutes?
Sure.
All right, do 2-3 minutes of your act. They don't need to hear me ask you questions.
Well,
do 2-3 minutes of your act.
Being that we're at Comic-Con,
yeah.
I managed to get over to Marvel, and I wanted to pitch them something unique. So I said, look, what if the spider, instead of biting Peter Parker, misses him and lands on his frumpy science teacher, so he could spend the next 50 years following the adventures of the amazing Seidelman. It's like, hey, that's a long way down. And I love comics. It's everything I love about comics. So I try to, like I said, I try to keep history hip. And I'm coming from Florida, where it's a little bit harder because it's it's always nice out. So the kids, they want to know about Columbus, and I tell them that, believe it or not, the founders of Florida were actually on the ship of Columbus. Morty and Myrna Mendelbaum, who were the first ones to say, Columbus, you call these bagels? It's the worst cruise I've ever been on. And I had a joke about insanity, but I lost it. I got to pause and... Got it. No.
You're pretty good. Where can people see your comedy act?
Yeah, probably in somebody's back lounge somewhere. I'm proud to say I have 2 showcases coming up down in Florida.
Yeah.
And I wanted to come up here.
I've always wanted to be a comedian. I love comedy. My problem is you just did your act. I could never sell the joke twice. If I actually could say something funny, then I could never sell it a second time.
Well, it's 2 parts. It's the writing, but they're also laughing at you. I mean, you had some brilliant writers out there that can't perform on stage.
Right.
And you realize it's a presence.
That's why they write for other people.
Exactly. And the idea is you engage them. You know what I mean? Like,
who was your favorite comic?
Growing up, I mean, when it terms to raunchy, it was Andrew Dice Clay.
Of course, Hickory Dickory Dock.
It was my brother, but it was his delivery. If you look at his material, what was it really? Yeah. But his delivery was like so powerful. It's like, we just wanted to be held. You got the bonus plan.
But okay, how about not Blue, or just
Safe would be. Old Carlin.
Yeah.
As he got older, it seemed like he got more political, like he stopped being funny, started preaching.
A lot of people say that. I don't know what happened with Carlin. I think he just got older, and his material wasn't as good, but I always liked him, especially even in the hockey stuff. Like, what is hockey?
I always say that basketball, it should be a 10-point shot for bouncing the ball off somebody's head, because he said he wanted to see the fights. Today's comedians, though, I like Jim Florentine.
Yeah, Jim's good.
He's got this dry delivery that he reminds you just like everybody's older brother that's been just kind of grizzled through life.
I loved Robert Schimmel. He was great.
He's good for the Florida set.
And Robin Williams was phenomenal.
What it was with Robin was that the craziest part about what happened with him is that I think he was this hero to so many comedians. Yeah. Anybody that ever had ADD or this unbelievable inner compulsion to just keep talking and babbling, but he found a way to take that insanity and channel it to a point where I think the one thing he was robbed of is that he never got to be a comic book villain.
Right.
And you got to figure that whether he was the Joker, whether he was the Riddler, he just never got the opportunity.
Right.
And that's the saddest part, is to see somebody that talented. So you think to yourself, well, what's it for the rest of us? If we're all insane inside, if we all have those same quirks, is that the end for us, or can we find a way to be the anti-Robin, to be bigger than that?
Right. So it's a good question. Where can people find you? Your comedy, at least.
Oh, comedy.
You got 2 showcases coming up.
Yeah, comedy right now, you just YouTube, type in Faro Kane.
Yeah.
And the idea is I just set up my little site. I literally just started doing stand-up a month ago.
Okay.
And it's also hooligansco.com.
Okay.
And now that we're picked up by Creature, it's going to be creatureentertainment.com. So.
Excellent. So go check out Faro. It's a great story, especially if you want to learn about history a little bit about history while you're reading, and maybe a revisionist history.
Well, the beautiful thing about this story is that I've been fascinated with time travel since I was a little kid. Quantum Leap, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But I wanted to tell it Pulp Fiction style, so what I actually did was...
How do they time travel?
Well, the idea is, my way of time travel is that you harness the power of a solar flare. And if you could channel the power of literally solar lightning into a manned device, the idea is that it punches you through the astral plane like a game of billiards.
Yeah, I just need a flux capacitor, a DeLorean, and 21.1 gigawatts.
I never wanted to be that kind of writer that if somebody's like, well, like you said, how do you travel through time? And I've listened to writers around all the indies, they'll go, oh, technology. Well, that's not good enough. Well, why should you invest in my story if I'm not giving you the credibility of telling you how we travel through time?
It's Creatures Entertainment.
Yes.
Faro, check it out. Thank you so much for your time. Look what we've got for you. We've got an Electro Kids and a bottle of sangria from Senor Sangria.
We have these parting prizes.
So SenorSangria.com. And Electro Kids, this will make you laugh for sure. You push the belly button and you play some music or you talk and the hair moves. So put it on your desk, enjoy yourself. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got a whole lot more coming up live on Comic-Con Live. Be terrific. We'll be back right after this. Thanks so much for joining with us and staying here.